Divine greetings, entities, energies, lovelies, bodies of light, seekers, and sojourners of truth, the 144, chosen of the chosen few. You know who you are, my third degree chosen few. I greet you in the love that lights the truth from my heart to yours. I'm Aquila Textry in the divine energy essence of it all, and it is really divine. I know you see those trees blowing, so you know the wind is whistling, and I'm listening to the wisdom in the wind and the messengers in the wind, the ancestors in the wind that's just blowing it all in. I'm breathing it in as it's blowing it all in, as we should all do. Take that time to just take a deep breath in, right? And as usual, I'm reporting to you live from the 5D, the fifth dimension, always bringing you the news to infuse, if you so choose to, light up on this light grid with me by infusing with the light. And you know, those who don't, you're gonna get fried on the grid as soon as you touch that grid. So we might as well do our best to enmesh with the grid, to align ourselves, get on our divine coordinates, because it's a grid. So when you look at a grid, there are coordinates that are mapped out for you. We are to get on our divine timing. See the wind? I ain't lying. I'm really just letting spirit bring the news that it wants to bring right now. I'm choosing to talk about the interplay. This is something that has come up a couple of days ago. I've been getting a lot of, downloads, and it's like, it's so much coming in. It's like, where do I put it? Where do I place it? What to share, what not to share, because not everything is, let's say, shareable in this way, and this means, through the airwaves in this way, right? It's in the air for anybody to get, but some of it is really sacred, and you have to know how to deliver it when there's a sacred space and opportunity to do so, right? So I'm doing my best to give what I can give. This is one of them, though. The interplay with our personal planets. This one is like tickled me pink when I got the message. Speaking of pink, sitting here pretty in pink, tickled pink. The interplay, it's been beautiful to see this interplay in our personal planets, which is like Mars, Mercury, Venus. Those are our personal planets, the ones that are moving around faster, the ones that are closer, to Earth. And so what was coming through in that message is that the warrior, and this is how I saw the personal planets, the message was actually that the warrior is seeking justice through the messages of peace, right? It is seeking justice through the messages of peace. And I want to say that clearly, because a lot of us think justice has to be revenge, or we're seeking justice, or we're waiting on justice, we're waiting on people to be served their karma and their justice, and we want to see it happen. And it's not for us to see. It's not a show. Justice is not for show. Karma is not for show, right? It is for growth. It's for your growth. It is for your growth. It is for that soul's growth. It is not something that it is for show. It's for us to grow in our lessons, right? So if you're looking to get front row seats with popcorn, then your intentions are skewed, right? It's not to say you won't see. Sometimes we do see, but we should not be seeking to see in that way. So when I say seeking justice, the warrior, the light warriors, those of us who are light warriors, the warrior within us is seeking justice through messages of peace, right? And what I got from that, before I go any further, as I remember, if you got this far, thank you, thank you, thank you. Please like, subscribe, and share and comment if you dare, especially to subscribe so we can get the numbers up and get to doing lives, and to help those algorithms, right? To help keep this channel going to where it needs to go to for the algorithms, and to speak to our soul tribers who are in remote places, who have not connected yet, who are seeking, right? We're helping them get connected as we build our community. In this space that we're afforded for those who are in line with this. So please remember, subscribing is the best. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for the shares. Love, thank you, and loving the comments, because I love that I can, speak back with you through the comments. I'm still catching up to the last 4 videos of comments. So my apologies if you see this and I haven't gotten back to you. As I said, the faster the downloads are coming in, it's a little bit harder to get to. And I am a family woman. I am a mother of 4, so I do have to do household things. So with that, I really would appreciate more and more subscribes, even if it's to pass it to a friend and say, hey, just subscribe to this, so we can get to the lives, right? Here, being live here, because I do everything in live time. However, let me go back into this. So that's housekeeping with that information. Is there anything else? Spirit will bring it as it comes. The interplay, and this is such a beautiful thing, and I say this to also, okay, thank you, Spirit is reminding me, yes, there is something to be mindful of as I give this message. Keep this in mind. I have a workshop coming up. This is the fourth annual Divine Chakra Moon workshop, which is a workshop, a 7-day workshop where we work with our energy centers, 7 days, 1 day on each energy center, from the root going up, as well as in coordinates and correlating with the moon, the celestials, right? I usually do it, this is why I do it with a full moon, because we're taking advantage of the energy that the full moon brings up, the well of emotion that springs up with the full moon, so we can grab those things that are in our subconscious mind that we say are hiding in certain places. This is an opportunity to grab that and work with each energy center to see what is to be transcended and transmuted, right? And transformed, being renewed by our transformation in our mind. So this is an opportunity to work with it. As I always say, I do it every month on my own, but I share it with the community quarterly, starting, and the first one I did was in June of 2021. So that's why this is my 4th annual. The next one I will do will be in September. So if you don't catch this one, the next one is September, but I encourage you to catch this one specifically especially when you hear the message that I'm going to give you now. It is to help wherever we are right now, and especially for those who are seeking that justice, so to speak, seeing where we have come from about 6 months ago. This is a full moon in Capricorn, so what was happening 6 months ago in the Capricorn season, which we've had some things coming up, I've been speaking about them. And so most importantly, the 2 things I can say is the Maherta frequencies and the cosmic shift, with Pluto and the Sun entering into Aquarius together, bringing in those things that needed to be revealed have really come into the forefront with the light of the sun, with the sun bringing its daylight, bringing it into our outer world, bringing it to our conscious phase of mind, those things that were kind of in the back of our mind, in our inner world, right? So it was brought out with Pluto and the Sun entering in Aquarius. So a lot of things have happened in that week from the 15th through the 21st. And so this is an opportune time to process those emotions, to really go through them, channel through them, wash through them in the right way, so you can really release what you need to release and move into the next phase of what we're moving into through the cosmos of time and space, because that's what's happening. We're constantly moving. So with that said, let me speak on these interpersonal planets. So keep that in mind. The workshop is definitely coming up. It starts mañana. I've been talking about it for the past couple of videos, but it starts tomorrow. I have the post. I posted it in YouTube. So there is a post. You can comment. You can put in the comments if you're interested. Comment. You may have to put your email, comment and put your email so I can email you to make this swiftly instead of having to wait on a response back from me. The easiest way is in the comments, put your email, and I will email you the package, the orientation and the welcome. There you go, the welcome information to be able to start right away. And even if you don't see this right now, whenever you see this, if it speaks to you, go ahead and comment, put it in, and I will give you the information, because you may mean to come in at that time, right? So with that said, that's that cleanup. With that said, let's get right into it, right? Excuse the noise in the background. Getting busy right now on the block. The personal planets, y'all. Ooh, I love the gray right there, right now. Or the, I shouldn't even say gray, just a beautiful hue of blue from like here to here. So blue, so true. Speaking of that and hearing the wind and all of that, it's speaking of us coming to the end of this Gemini. We're catching wind at the end of this Gemini season, which is the wind element. So as I speak on these personal planets, who is that warrior? The warrior that seeks justice through the messages of peace. So let me break that down right now. That is Mars. Mars is that warrior. Mars is that warrior that is coming in behind, trailing behind Mercury, which is the messages, right? It seeks justice through what? The messages. That's Mercury, the communicator, the messages of peace. And that is Venus. Venus is that peace and love, right? So ultimately, the warrior is seeking love. He's looking for his love. He's looking for Venus. Venus then went on ahead. That's why it's seeking the through the messages, right? Because it's moving along with Mercury right about now in Gemini. And so I'm going to paint this picture, and you're going to see where it's going to even connect Kemetically with our Kemetic, the cosmos according to the Kemetic, right? According to Kemet. So let's start with Mars. Mars being that warrior. Why do I say this warrior? It just came out of Aries, y'all. It just came out of Aries, fueled up. It was in its home space, fueled up. Mind you, the personal planets have been moving together since around Capricorn season, and around through the Aquarius season. And I believe at the end of Aquarius, like, it was Mars and Venus that was really like conjunct, at an exact conjunct, and moving through together. But as you know, Venus moves a little faster, you know, than Mars. Both Venus and Mercury, they move a little faster. So of course she went on. Mercury only got slowed up a little bit because it went into retrograde in about April. But Mars was taking its time coming through the checkpoint of Saturn, while they went on, all those other inner planets, they went on through April, through Aries and into Taurus. And so Mars, the warrior, right, the initiator, the fire, was making its way coming through. And then he comes through Aries, it's fire sign, right? Not much interaction. All the other personal planets moved along. However, the North Node was there, and so was Chiron. So it was working with those energies, the unhealed wounds, right? And in a more mature way, because it had a checkpoint when it checked in with Saturn, right? So as just to kind of paint the picture of how this warrior is moving along, but it picks up its fire when it moves through the fire of Aries. And so it's all fueled up. And now here it comes. It enters into Taurus. By the time it gets here, of course, the other personal planets moved on to Gemini. But there was a message here. Ooh, feel the wind, feel the wind. Messages in the wind, as I say message. Yep, we hear you, ancestors. Ooh, we hear you. We feel you. All right, at least I do. There's messages that were here, and Mars is picking up these messages, these little breadcrumbs that was left behind in Taurus. So in Taurus, this is where we were to be having a new perspective, changing our perspective on what we value, our possessions, the material world. And mind you, Venus was there in its home space, right? And Mercury came along with it. And so Venus was bringing the beauty, but bringing that's Venus' home space of possession, of values, right? And we were supposed to change our perspectives. Like, we're getting yet another opportunity to fix our perspectives on how we see things in the earth, in the physical earth. And so it made its way through. And mind you, while we were there, there was another great cosmic shift with the conjunction between Jupiter and Uranus, and that was really shaking things down. And that was also around the time of the full moon in Scorpio, which is in opposition. I want us to keep this in mind when you hear me speak on the opposition. It was in opposition of Taurus, right? That's why it was a full moon, and it was bringing some feelings, some emotional feelings. This is when we were working on the sacral workshop. We were working through our feelings, those who were with me, and there was so much to process. There was a processing of emotions that's necessary a lot of times for us to get to the next level. For us to get to that new perspective, we have to process some things. So it's inviting us to, this is what that energy was inviting us to do. It was setting the tone, setting the stage, giving us the earthquaking shake that we need with that conjunction, right? But Venus was there, so to bring the beauty in it, if we so choose to look and see that beauty, because the beauty to behold is that there is a truth to be told, right? The beauty to behold is that the truth to be told is there's a new perspective. There's a true perspective on what we value, on what we possess in relationships, in money, whatever it is that we possess, material wise, physically. We are to look at the value in that, right? And Mercury was moving through around the same time, so the communication, the messages were trying to come through, but it's hard, you know, for Mercury to get that through, you know, through the earth, through the physical, through the thick-headed people that are really grounded into the earth in that way and can only see through the material and not know how to change their perspective of it. So as we move on into Gemini, it becomes very fast-paced. It loosens up. We're not in the element of earth anymore. We're in the element of wind. And so when we arrive here, mind you, Jupiter was the first one that got here, as I've mentioned before, but we're talking about the personal planet. So this is where we are now. We're at the tail end of Jupiter's season. And so by the time we get here, by this point, Mars had just entered, I believe about a week ago, a couple days ago, Mars just entered into Taurus. So it's coming into Taurus like, you know, like, where are we? Let me get it. Mars is now coming in with I'm looking for this. I'm looking for the justice. Like, what was supposed to be done here? Like, whatever you have not done, whatever you decimated, whatever you destroyed or demolished, or whatever you didn't quite grasp, right? It's like a destruction to the soul, right? So Mars is like coming in with its fire, right? Who didn't listen to my baby girl? Who didn't, you know, coming in to protect? You know, this is the best way I can explain it in a funny kind of way. Like, who didn't come in to protect his love, Venus? Who didn't hear the message, you know, that they were bringing through? Who didn't hear? So the earth is a bit disturbed as Mars comes in there and looking around like, no, I want justice. I'm coming in with this fire. We got to fix this. Right? And so it's meeting up with that. And this is where I say the Sekhmet energy, because Sekhmet represents Scorpio. Sekhmet is the one that comes in and ravishes through everything. The bloodthirsty Sekhmet, that Kali energy, that off with their heads energy, that energy, that destruction. And it's destruction because we have destroyed with our vain imaginations, and by not overturning what we needed to turn over and face the truth in what true value is in the earth and what it's worth in ourselves and in our possessions, right? Our material things we didn't turn over for some of us. So that Sekhmet energy is like rawr, like this is meeting the Mars, the warrior who is there right now, is kind of conjuring that opposition, that Sekhmet energy, that Scorpio energy, like, hey, you know, I need to draw on some of that right now while I'm here, right? Because I know you was here already with the full moon, but I need to draw back on some of that while I'm here. I'm in opposition to Sekhmet or Scorpio, so it's drawing on that, right, to seek the justice, right? And I don't mean that type of justice. It's the truth, right? Through the messages of peace. And so this brings me to the messenger, to Hootie. That's the Gemini season that we're in, and Mercury, which is representing the messenger. So Mercury is that messenger, and it's like it's seeking through the messages, through the messenger and the messages. And the Mercury is in a good place, better than where it was when it was coming through Taurus, because it's in its home space, right, of messages. It's like it opens the way for the messages, these messages in the wind. It's in its element of wind, so messages are moving through more swiftly. If you notice that, you can move through the wind a little bit more than swifter or smoother than you can move through the dirt, because you got to dig to get through the dirt. With the wind, you're just going with the currency of the wind. So Mercury is in a better position to carry the messages, put it that way, for us to get the message, right? These are the interplay of the inner planets within us, the personal planets. The Mars in us is that warrior energy that is ready to seek its justice for what needs to happen, right? And remember, it's very fired up. It just came from its home space in Aries. And so the messenger is in a beautiful middle position to carry this message, right? The message of peace is the message, is love, is with Venus. So it's coupled, it's in the same space with Venus at about the same time that I was getting this message. And when I checked, I believe Venus and Mercury were at both about 20 something degrees. I'm not sure if it was 24. I believe this was 24 degrees. They were at about the same degrees. So they're coupled together a little bit more in terms of the messages, coming through Mercury, through us, the communication that we need to have for peace. What was it that Venus was stabilizing for us, was bringing to us in her home space? It's like now we can get that message as we are in Gemini, where the messages are really coming through. So again, the light, the warrior, is like seeking that justice, but through the messages of peace, of love, right? Not through vengefulness, right? This is why we need peace and love, because it's so fired up and it has that segment energy of destruction, but it doesn't really want to destroy. It's in its maturity, in our masculine maturity, we're seeking it through the means of peace and understanding. It's the peace that surpasses all understanding. Thank you. We're also in this season of understanding. In the Gemini season, this is also about understanding, wisdom and understanding. It's where wisdom meets understanding, because wisdom would be Gemini's opposition, which would be Sagittarius, and that's the wisdom, right? And so we were, in the beginning, I was saying we were shooting for that wisdom. So this is what's happening with us. Faithfully, you're seeing what I'm seeing as we're reading these inner planets, the interplay within us. These are all aspects of us and how we are utilizing these energies within us that are highlighting something for us. This is how we do that transcendence within the cosmos, with the cosmos, in this cosmic design. So for those who have ears to hear, pay close attention, because this is how it's working with us. So, ooh, strong wind. I feel it. I know this is truth, right? So faithfully, I know this is truth resonance right here. Whoever it's for, it's for. Take it how it resonates, as we always say. It's such a beautiful thing that we're seeing the warrior in us that's coming and ready, but to seek it through maturity, through the message of peace. And so while Venus and Mercury are moving through the house of Gemini, moving through the wind, listening to the wisdom in the wind and the understanding, right? Mars is seeking that. It's moving through, and it's seeking to bring that through the messages of peace. It's seeking to even clean up. So it's for us. What does it mean to us? It's for us to look back and see what it is that we did not get while we were in the Taurus season, right? When those things were happening. What did we not get? Look back as far as Capricorn, because I said these planets were moving along together. We've had a stellium every month. If you notice, every month, which is every cycle or sign or house, whatever you want to call it, right? Every house that we were going through, every season, every cosmic season, we had a stellium. And a lot of it had to do with those personal planets until they got, until Mars got separated around Pisces and kind of ended up further behind. But when you look at it, ask yourself what has happened since around January, during that week from the 15th through the 21st. Mark that, look at that, and look at how the personal planets have been working with us all along the way, and to the point where we get now. Last month there was another cosmic shift. As I said, what was happening then? Pay attention to what was kind of shaking up in your life, what needed to be brought to attention, what needed to be emotionally processed, and deep emotions, right? With that opposition in in that full moon in Scorpio? What was being asked of you to process and gain a true perspective of what true value is? What was that? And that's what we're bringing in to our personal space, right? Our personal, this is the interplay with the personal planets, very personal to us, right? Because we see these planets go around again and again, so they work very personally with us, more so than the outer planets. A lot of the outer planets, we usually won't see them shift away or pass through like this full cycle in our lifetime, because of how long they take to move through, right? To see them make a full cycle around the cosmic calendar, so to speak. So the personal planets really work with us on a personal level, closely, more tethered to time, so to speak, to the time that we see in our lifetime, right? So this is helping with our overall soul unfolding movement as we move forward, as we prepare ourselves for 5D, for the new earth, for the Aquarian age. All of this is an interplay that helps us. When we learn how to read this interplay, when we read the planets and we read the cosmos, we can see how it best works for us. When we can read through our energy centers, tapping into our consciousness, we see where it plays a part for us. Where are our strengths? Where are our weaknesses? And what needs to be checked, right? So at this point with the personal planets, the interplay is like, I see the juggling of Mars, Mercury, and Venus, and Mars is the one that's kind of lagging behind, but it's seeking that justice. And as I say justice, I'm also talking about our North Node, North Node and South Node, because the South Node is in Libra. Our South Node being in Libra is the is the justice, is the balance. So it's seeking that justice that is necessary for our social dynamic. A lot of this has a part to play with our social dynamics. A lot of us that are feeling the shift, that are needing a true perspective on our valuables. Relationships, as I said, are our valuables, our possessions. These titles that we have, they possess us or we possess them, but either way, it's a type of possession, right? My uncle, my aunt, my title, whatever that title is, these are possession. My parents, my children. So these are things that we possess. And so this is a part of how we value what we have, what we possess, or how much do our possessions own us, right? Are we possessed by our possessions? All of these are things that we want to break the mold in. This is what our warrior, our light warrior, our warrior of Mars, that's coming with that fire, right? Remember, it got its maturity, but now it also got fueled with the fire, and it's ready to be like, hey, this, we got to clean this up, or we need to do this. Like, it's ready with that action, that initiative in the earth, right? In Taurus, in our values and our prosperity. It's bringing those messages through, bringing it through, bringing that justice through, but through the messages of peace, bringing love, finding love, which is finding its Venus, right? It has its girls back. That's how I see it. And this is us. I'm talking about us, whether you are male or female. This is not gender. I'm speaking about energy, masculine energy, feminine energy. Mars is the masculine and Venus is usually representing the feminine energy. So it's the masculine in you, the protector in you, that is coming to seek justice for the feminine in you, who has been leading the way, right? Because Venus has been leading the way, who has been leading the way and highlighting the beauty in these hiccups, right? Some of us may have not been seeing the beauty, but she has been highlighting the beauty that needs to be whole. She's been highlighting the true perspective, especially when we were in Taurus season, of what to value. Something got shaken down from you. It's okay. Here it is. This is what I want. This is what we need to value. The beauty in it, if you allow it, is allowing yourself to be broken open, being so broken that you're open and you're not holding on to any specific outcomes or a form that you may have had, old concepts. Be broken from those old concepts. Be broken from those old paradigms. This is a bold move. This is that Uranus energy. That's why that conjunction was so shaken, because that Uranus energy is that Oya energy that's like radical change. Be so broken that you change. If you break and you didn't change, then you didn't get the message. You didn't get what Venus was bringing to you. You don't get what the true value in Earth, and the Earth sign is saying, to value the Earth in a way of being in a mind state of abundance, right? And not looking to fulfill your dreams through a mind state of lack, of what you think you don't have or why you think you don't have it, but being in abundance, not looking for literal material things, but knowing that in the invisible realm, the abundance is already there. And so therefore everything is given onto you. So you're not looking for a physical, tangible type of abundance, but it will come through, right? If you understand the spiritual laws of it. So it's really highlighting all that. And this is what Venus was really highlighting. But now that we're in the wind, in the wisdom in the wind, in the atmospheric body, we're also in the throat chakra season. See, there's a lot of changes happening right now during this interplay. We're in an interchange right now, right? During this interplay, we're on the interstate, on the highway, like we're on an interstate and we're interchanging, right? There's something to say of what we're coming through, and I want to point this out before I go. As we go in, this is why doing this workshop at this time is going to be high vibrational for those who are really ready to make that change in their life. High vibrational, right? There are a couple of things going on. For one, you're going to be looking at, we're 6 months away from what happened 6 months ago. So you're going to have the opportunity to really unravel that, right? The second thing is we're actually leaving, while we're in this workshop, we're going to be leaving Gemini season into the Capricorn season. And with that said, we're leaving the first quadrant of the cosmic calendar. The first three, 1, 2, 3, those first three houses, I call that the first quarter, so to speak. So the first quadrant, we're leaving that quadrant and entering into the next quadrant, the second quadrant, which is going to include Cancer, Leo, and Virgo, which will actually complete the next half. When we complete this quadrant, we complete that first half, which is the entire physical side, so to speak, physical energy, right? Or considered the positive energy, the physical energy, the positive energy, the masculine energy. And then the second half will be going into the spiritual. As those of you who know Sister Myra, you will understand that concept as well. She speaks very well on that, and helping us understand that dynamic holistically. Because there is also incremental as well. I look at the incremental and the holistic, right? Incrementally speaking, there are, the way to look at the positive and negative planets more incrementally is looking at the elements, right? So I'm going to make this real simple, right? You can look it up how you want to, but I'm just going to give it to you real simple. The fire and the air elements are considered positive, and the water and the earth elements are considered negative. So that's an incremental view of the positive and negative charge within the holistic view. It's not one or the other. It is within the holistic view. And for me to break that down, that would take a whole nother, a whole nother video, as well as I'd probably have to have a chart board up to kind of show you. It needs a view. It's hard to just describe with words, right? So we're leaving that quadrant. I say that, let me bring it back a little bit. So we're leaving the first quadrant into the second. We're leaving Gemini into Cancer, and we're leaving one quadrant into a next. All right, so this is something that we're looking at. We're also entering into the summer solstice. So we're also leaving the season of spring, and which is the first quarter. Spring is the first 3 months, or the first 3 houses, however you choose to look at that. So that is the first quarter, that first season, quarter season, right? And we're entering into the summer solstice. So this is all happening in the midst of this workshop. So this is a really opportune time to be working with these energies and see what you are moving along with, to see what to work through to bring forth into the next quadrant, and how these energies work. How do we align ourselves with these energies cosmically, right? The more you do your soul work and you truly go in and tap into your subconscious, which is what I do in this program, in this workshop. Ultimately, it's to tap into your subconscious. Ultimately, it is a great shadow working tool by working with your energy centers and the celestial to tap into your subconscious mind, aka that feminine energy, right? AKA your memory, your intuition. That's your memory bank, is your subconscious mind. So all of this taps into that to help you gather up, pull out what you really need to be looking at, so you are really working on what you are here to work on, right? And it's going to help you. Once you do that, you work through what has happened in the past, the first quarter, as well as far back as what has been happening since January that came through that last quarter of the year, the winter season, all of that coming from the underworld of the winter season into spring, and kind of bringing that together. And the more when you work through that, then you align and prepare yourself and have yourself ready for, you're more aligned with the, let's say, with the energies, with the cosmos of where we're going to next in the Cancer season, of how that works with you. Everything works according to how you align in your cosmic design, how you align with your divine appointments. There's energetic algorithms out there everywhere, and it's how you line up with that. So I say all that about the personal planets. I really paint that story, share what was shown to me, so that we understand, we take this within us. Don't just look at the cosmos and what you hear going on in the cosmos as something outside of you. It is very much a part of inside of you, and a guiding light. Just like how they say the sun and the moon, it's not just the luminaries, it's not just the sun and the moon that is the guiding light, the greater light, the lesser light. You also have the stars, right? It says the sun and the moon and the stars. The stars are the organizations, get it? The cosmic organizations, right, around us, that help us, the orders through our day, that orders us through the seasons that give us the reasons, so that we know how we're here, why we're here, what we're here to do. The reasons come through understanding of the seasons. So understanding that is through the cosmos. It's not just literally the seasons as in summer, spring, winter, fall. No, that's the bare minimum. Okay, there are seasons that are telling us what is happening, where we are in this season, right? So as we're leaving this season, as I'm speaking of that, we're in the throat chakra season. You guys been hearing me. You divine ones, I don't like to say you guys, you divine ones, you light bodies, you've been hearing me say this for the past couple months. As we leave this season, entering into the summer solstice, we will now be entering into the third eye season for the next 3 months, right? So this is a real opportune time as we're catching wind. We're catching the last wind of the Gemini season. We're getting it so clearly, all that wisdom in the wind. Not to say we won't get it again, but this is a time where it's really flowing, right? To catch this and utilize this throat chakra season to get the messages, right? With the Tahuti. Tahuti is the messenger, is the one that represents also Gemini. The Kemetically speaking, that is Tahuti. So we're utilizing this Tahuti season to gather the messages, to take record, keep track of and take record, write down what comes up for you, to carry that into the next season. And there goes the wind again. So I know this is not a lie. In the atmospheric body, we are feeling that. We are hearing that. What are you hearing? Are you writing it down? Are you taking notes? This is your personal interaction with the personal planets. Where is your Mars, your Mercury, your Venus? You may also want to look at your natal chart to see how it affects your natal chart. Look at your natal Mars, your natal Venus, your natal Mercury, and see how the present one, our current present report, forecast, there we go, our present forecast also has to be compared to our natal, in order to see how it works with us on a more personal level. Look at your natal chart, but look at what's happening now. So when we say the interplay between Mars, Mercury, and Venus, really look at that, how Mars is really behind, saying, hey, utilizing that Sekhmet energy you know, but wanting to do it gently so that that Sekhmet becomes Bastet, right? The more gentler feline, the more gentler cat, right? Less upset, but it's using that energy because there needs to be an assertiveness in seeking this justice through the message of peace. Peaceful, but very assertive. So we need that fire of being assertive, right? And I mentioned the South Node. I did not mention a North Node being in Aries. So it is really still highlighting that. Remember, the nodes are tied to our ecliptic message. Whatever is happening during the eclipse has to do with the nodes. So this warrior is seeking what is to be happening from the North Node, South Node, which is seeking justice and balance within the social dynamics so that we can hold ourselves accountable. We can be in our soul sovereignty as individuals in a higher level, the North Node in Aries, individual soul sovereignty, as well as justice with all, being able to be in peace, the messages of peace and love, that we be not selfish with that. We don't abuse our power, being selfish and inconsiderate, but we utilize what we know of ourselves to stand in our personal power, as well as being able to coexist with others, leaving people where they are and knowing how to find your collective group that works with you, that is more tailored to you. You're finding your pods. A lot of us are finding our starseed pods, and this is why I encourage us, if this pod is for you, this is for you, right? This message is for you. And if you resonate with most of these messages, this is your pod. This is your soul tribe, right? Tap in, comment, become a part of the workshop, because the workshops help sharpen us to be better in our individual selves in order to be a better collective. We want a strong community with a strong collective, and that takes doing the individual work. So I invite you, if you feel this is for you and you know there's more that you can get from this, let's begin this. Let's do this work together, right? Don't be afraid. Reach out. Leave that message. Leave that comment. All you have to do is leave your email, and I will send it to you. That is the fastest way that I can get the message to you. Like I said, it starts tomorrow for whoever sees this now, which will be the 18th. So 7 days from the 18th through to the 24th. This is not for everybody. Like I said, it's not an advertisement for everybody. I'm speaking to those chosen few, right? Whether you're, 1 degree, 2 degree, third, it don't even matter. It just matters of your willpower, right? Are you willing and ready? Not willing and able. The message I always get when I get my downloads, are you willing and ready? The light bodies that are willing and ready, this is for you. This is for you to tap in and know that there's work that we must do. So we come in and we come together. It helps to hold accountability. This is how we can build that community. If you're looking for where are others like-minded, or how can I get more of this information, how can I tap in? Here and now. I'm hearing the song, here and now. Oh, I promise to love faithfully. Right? And that promise, speaking of promise, is the rainbow promise inside of you. Here and now, I carry you to your promise. What is that promise? The energy centers inside of you, that rainbow light prism that is inside of you. So here and now, I connect us to that promise within the workshop. We go deeper and we come together. So allow these personal planets, this story of this personal planet, this personal interplay, the interplay of the personal planets, right? To be that string, that light that is leading you a little bit more deeper into you, allowing you to see that all of this is you, that the warrior is inside of you, the warrior that is seeking justice through the messages of peace, love, looking for love, but looking for love in all the right places. This is where we become intentional and purposeful about looking for love in all the right places. And we're talking about agape love. We're talking about the love frequency, which is the 5D, the unity frequency. Looking for your 5D coordinates, right? Your divine coordinates, right? Seek and ye shall find. Knock and the door shall be open. Ask and it shall be given. closed mouths don't get fed. So if you just see this and go, that sounds nice, that's what the universe is going to say when you want something. That sounds nice. Message. See, the wind just picked up as I said that. So I share that with you all. Look at the personal and the interplay of the personal planets in your life. See how that works for you. And those of us who are ready to do the do, get into it. Jump into this workshop if that calls for you. Be the love that lights the truth within you. Pass it on. Share this message to get the algorithms out. If you see this, at least, get it out. If you pass it by, that's fine. But at least get it out so that it reaches the person who it's supposed to reach. With that said, ooh, feel the wind. I'm loving this season of wisdom in the wind. Tahootie up. And I'm going to leave that there. With this said, love, love, love you all. Be that light. Encourage yourself. And don't be afraid to reach out into the communities that work for you. This is all about social interconnectivity. It's that time. Each one, reach one, teach one. If you don't know where to start in your big, beautiful heart. Shine your light from the inside out and be the candle that lights the next one and the next one and the next one. Peace, love, and light.